So profile pictures that are being sold, for example, the CryptoPunks. And when you look at the NFT for the CryptoPunk, what you find in the document, which is the NFT itself, is merely a link to an image on the web, World Wide Web. And obviously, this link could be a link to a blockchain, or it could be linked to a centralized server, but it means nothing from a legal perspective. So what we do in DOTs is that we actually, in the link, which is on the blockchain, we identify legally binding documentation that grants you ownership of either the tangible asset, in which case it's an ownership title, or it grants you ownership to certain contractual rights or intellectual property for intangible assets. So that's how we do DOTs, and it's a little bit more complicated than it sounds, but nonetheless, we'll try and simplify the way we understand it so that we can help everyone to be more selective when they choose what kind of NFTs they want to buy. So I hope that's helpful, Kevin.
Okay, so there is a difference. So you're saying there is a difference between an NFT and a DOT, am I correct?
Yes, it's actually an enhanced version of the NFT. So what we did is we used the NFT technology to turn it into a digital ownership token.
Okay, so if I have an investor, right, and I'm a beginner investor, because I know there are a lot of young people out there who are keen to invest in NFT, and they don't have a lot of money. Okay, so they have a few $100 US, and they come up to us and they say, hey, look, I have $350 and US dollars, and I want to invest in an NFT. Okay, what would your advice be, and how would you sort of move them from buying a PFP NFT to actually buying something that is a DOT?
Right. So let's say, for example, in today's world, when a lot of young people buy NFTs, they are actually being shown a lot of images, right? So let's say, for example, they look at a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, and they like a particular ape, and they think it's a beautiful image, and they actually want to use it as a profile picture. Right? Now, everyone thinks that when they buy the NFT, they're actually buying that image. But the answer is no, they're not actually buying the image, because the NFT does not say that you have ownership over the image. All the NFT has is a link to the image. Okay? And that's very different, because legally you have no ownership over the image which you think you're buying, which you're actually not buying. So what I would do is, the advice I would give to a lot of new entrants into the NFT space is that if you like an image and you actually want to buy the image, and that's why I keep saying you got to know what you're trying to buy, right? So if you are trying to buy that image, then you need to make sure that there is documentation in the NFT that says that you actually own the image after you buy the NFT. And very often you'll find that that's not the case, which is actually quite disappointing. And therefore, if you are really keen in getting the image, you should always tell the person who's selling you the NFT that you only want to buy it if it's a DOT. So the only way to ensure that you have something of value is to get the person or the creator of the image to perhaps come to Coinllectibles. Let us create the DOT for that particular image, and when you buy the DOT, which is an enhanced version of the NFT, you'll be delighted that you actually have some kind of ownership over that image. It may be a full intellectual property ownership, or it may at least be a contractual license, whether it's commercial or private license, to the image, so that you know what you can do with it. So that's the one tip and one advice that I would really emphasize to all potential investors.
Okay, so the thing is this, these young investors, they are quite naive in a way, right? And where are they supposed to find this documentation or any documentation to specify that they actually own the rights? Are they, they're not as savvy as, I guess, because we are in the business or you're in the trade, so we know what's what, right? But a lot of these young investors, they're not. So where are they? Where, even if they know, okay, I'm not actually buying the rights, and I want to know that I'm buying the rights, where can they go to see whether they're actually buying the rights or not?
Okay, so everyone thinks that there is a smart contract in the NFT, and they think that that's all they need. Okay, now the smart contract is not the legally binding contract, right? So a lot of people ask this question, which is, if I don't understand coding, how do I read the code to determine whether or not I actually have the rights? Well, you don't need to learn coding, you don't need to know coding, because as far as we are concerned, the coding in NFT does not give you any legal rights, okay? What you need to find is actually in the metadata of the NFT. Now, in every platform, OpenSea, Rarible, or whichever platform that you actually go to, they will always indicate on the web page where the NFT is being presented for purchase. They will actually have information on the metadata. And typically the metadata for a lot of platforms only contain three things, right? The name, the description, and the link. Now, what everyone should do is to click the link and see where the link takes you to. If the link takes you immediately to only an image, then you know that there is no documentation in the NFT. Okay. However, if you look at the kind of NFTs that we do, which are actually DOTs, when you click the link will bring you to a permanent web page that is on the blockchain, so that you know that all of this information are secure and permanent on the blockchain and is immutable. And on that web page, there will be further links linking you to a PDF files, which you can then open up to look at the document. Now, that is exactly what you're looking for when you actually try to find any documentation that actually sets out what kind of rights you actually have when you buy the NFT or the DOT.
Okay, so what you're saying is that when you buy an NFT from OpenSea or whatever, and you click the link, and the link sends you straight to the image, so what you're saying is there's actually no documentation contained within the NFT, or there's no metadata contained within the NFT?
No, so the link itself is metadata. The name, description, these are all metadata, but you're right in the first sentence that you made, which is that if you click the link and all it does is sends you to the image, it means that there is no documentation within the NFT that will protect you in terms of your ownership of the image.
Okay, that's very, very clear. So I hope everyone who is a first-time investor in the NFT space, please take note of that. And so, what are the repercussions if you buy something that you're not protected by any documentation? What are the risks? What are the risks involved here?
Well, that is actually the primary problem, right? So if you bought an NFT that seems to suggest that you're actually buying an image, but in reality, you have nothing legally binding with respect to your rights with respect to that image, then what have you actually bought? You have merely bought a Word document with the link written on it. Now, if everyone realizes that that's what you're buying, nobody's going to pay any amount of money for that, because anybody can create a new Word document with the link written in it. And that is precisely the problem, which is why all the regulators are very concerned, because people, generally, the public is not being well informed and well protected when they're buying these NFTs. Because if you're just merely buying a Word document that has blockchain characteristics with the link written on it, you have actually bought nothing, right? Yeah, and I think that's a massive problem.
Okay, right. So end of the day, it's just for these people who spend $350, $400, or even $500, or even $1,000 buying an NFT of an image. They basically have just thrown the money into a bin. Is that right? More or less.
Well, so again, to be fair to a lot of these hype and speculated NFTs, the value of the NFT would be, in such circumstances, would be the value that the next person is willing to pay you for, right? So to the extent that you can find some other person to pay you some money to take the NFT off your hands, that will be the value of the NFT. But however, just a gentle reminder to everyone, this is statistics that we've found. If you look at all of the NFTs that are currently being offered by OpenSea, for example, okay, we've discovered that only 0.2% of these NFTs are being sold. So 99.8% of all NFTs listed on OpenSea have never actually been sold before. So based on those statistics, you start to understand, you start to realize that if you were to buy any of these NFTs, you may be struggling to find someone willing to buy it from you. And I think that's a wake-up call for everyone.
Right. So it's not really an investment then. You're basically just buying something, and you will not be able to resell it if you think that I'm going to buy something, I'm going to make money out of it. No, that's not going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about collectibles and what we have done lately. Okay, that is really driving us into the direction of the DOT. Are you able to talk about what we have, any of the good, juicy partnership that we have formed of late?
Yeah, so the most recent and the most exciting partnership that we've done recently is obviously our partnership with Chris Webber. I think that's actually all out in the press releases, as well as in a lot of articles that have been written up on it. We're actually very honored and very, very proud that we've been given this opportunity to work with Chris Webber. The reason why he's working with us is obviously he's also very concerned about what his fans are buying when they buy an NFT or a DOT from him, right? And that's the reason why he has selected us, because we made it very clear that we are not going to jump into the hype and the speculation with NFTs. We wanted to ensure that anybody that buys a DOT from us is getting something of intrinsic value. If it was an image, we want to make sure that they actually own rights in the image. If it was a physical, tangible asset like a basketball with his autograph on it, or a t-shirt or a jersey with his autograph on it, we wanted to make sure that the DOT is legally binding as an ownership title to that physical, tangible asset. So that's what we've been doing. And we hope that the fans will be very, very excited when they receive or when they buy these DOTs from us. There is a lot of concerns, for example, from the public that NFTs are all scams. That will be too much of a generalization. As we mentioned earlier, Kevin, what is necessary for a lot of these potential customers, whether they are investors or whether they are consumers, is that when they buy these DOTs, just make sure that you know or that you see the necessary documentation in it, that it represents what you are actually buying. I think that's the bottom line.
Oh, that's great. So collectibles are transiting from the term NFT to DOT. So in future, all our potential customers, clients, investors, they will be seeing more of the term DOT appearing alongside our product or our art and items and partnership and things like that versus NFT. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And the reason why this is happening is because being a publicly traded company, we are actually in a lot of dialogue with regulators all over the world. So we've had dialogue with, obviously the US SEC. We've had dialogue with, Singapore MAS. We've also had dialogue with Dubai regulators. And the common advice or the common guidance we've been given by a lot of regulators is that they feel that the term NFT seems to suggest, as I mentioned earlier, which is just merely a Word document with blockchain characteristics with a link. And the only real value, like I said, is the network that it creates and how well you can hustle someone else to buy it from you. Right. And I think they're very, very concerned with that. And therefore, they've actually given us guidance to try and use DOT, which is, again, digital ownership tokens, which is more precisely describing what we are doing, even though we're using the NFT technology. And they will feel a lot more comfortable if we do that. And they want us to take the lead to try and bring the industry back onto the track where we use the NFT technology in a responsible manner. And I hope that's going to be helpful for the industry in general.
So what do you think is going to happen to all this NFT hype? Because if the regulators are going to come down hard on NFT, the term NFT, and people are selling NFT and all this, what do you think is going to happen to the future of NFT then?
Well, it's difficult for me to predict the future. I think a lot of people were trying to predict the future of Bitcoin and obviously got it wrong as well. So for me to make any prediction will be silly. However, what I would like to highlight is that there have been quite a lot of talk, for example, in the market where, a lot of people are predicting, for example, that, the value of 99% of NFTs would be worthless at some point in the future. And obviously, that's just a generalization being made by many people out there. I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing, but I think from our perspective, we want to ensure that our business have long-term prospects, and therefore we're using NFT technology to create DOTs which have intrinsic value in the real world for a real purpose. And I think as far as we are concerned, the DOTs that we provide or we make available for purchase will always have that kind of intrinsic value. Okay,
look, thank you very much, Julian. Now I just want to invite anyone who's checking in tonight to post any comments, any questions that you may have. We will be doing regular segments like this, just very short, 20 minutes to half an hour. If something new in an industry come up, we will run a segment like this, and we'll try and educate and inform the public in general about what's happening out there. If there are any changes in legislation about technology and things like that. So please follow us, tune in, keep an ear out, and just follow our Coinllectibles website and our social media pages, and look out for more segments like this. Now, Benny and Gerald, do you have any other questions that you want to ask?
No, for me, I'm good.
Okay, well, if that's the case, well, thank you very much, Julian, for being on this segment tonight and answering and clarifying a lot of questions for us. And good night, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kev. Bye-bye.
Bye.